All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're not just looking at some scary story. We're going to unpack a horror masterpiece that honestly holds up a mirror to our deepest digital anxieties. We're talking about Psychosis and why it feels more and more real with every passing year.
You know that feeling, right? That constant low-level hum of unease that comes from unanswered texts, weird DMs, that feeling of being perpetually watched even when you are completely and totally alone? Well, this story, it taps directly into that modern paranoia.
And this really gets to the heart of it. It's the central paradox of our lives now. We're alone in our rooms, yeah, but our digital windows are thrown wide open for the whole world to see. Psychosis takes that simple everyday truth and just pushes it to its absolute terrifying limit.
So, how does the story actually build this feeling of dread? Well, it's pretty brilliant because the horror doesn't start with some monster jumping out. It starts with something way more familiar, our own technology failing us in these quiet, deeply unsettling ways.
The story just masterfully weaponizes these tiny glitches. See, it's not a loud jump scare, it's a slow burn of digital silence. His friends are always idle, his emails start bouncing back. A phone call fails, but then a stranger calls back knowing his name. It's this uniquely modern form of gaslighting, and it makes him question the very fabric of his connections to the world.
And this is really the core of the terror. When his friend, Amy, finally calls him back, she says she's at a party. But here's the thing. There's no background noise, no music, no people talking, just dead silence. Our brains are hardwired to expect that ambient sound, and when it's just gone, it creates this profound, uncanny dread.
And this is the moment it all clicks for the main character. Even if she stepped outside to take the call, there should be something, the wind, a car, anything. And that complete absence of sensory proof, that's the moment his only lifeline turns into a source of pure horror.
Now, right as the terror is reaching its peak, the story pulls out its most clever weapon. And it's not a monster or a ghost. It's a perfectly rational, totally comforting explanation for everything that's been happening. So a psychiatrist shows up at his door and offers this diagnosis, cyberpsychosis. It's this neat, tidy little box that explains away all the weirdness. And it's so seductive, you know? It gives him an easy way out of the nightmare. In a world full of misinformation, we can all understand the appeal of a simple story that makes all the scary things make sense.
So the whole story really boils down to this single choice. On one side, you've got the comforting lie. It promises a cure, a return to normal if you just open the door. And on the other side, you've got that terrifying gut feeling that you are in real mortal danger. The story basically argues that choosing to trust that uncomfortable instinct over the easy explanation, that's a true act of courage.
And here it is, the punchline. The protagonist realizes the explanation is, well, it's too perfect. It feels like it was designed specifically to make him lower his defenses. So he decides to trust his paranoia over the comforting logic. And that single decision is what keeps him alive.
But the story doesn't stop there. Oh no. Now the horror just escalates, shifting from this psychological manipulation to a direct, physical violation of his most private space.
In one final attempt to trick him into opening the door, the voice of Amy brings up his most cherished, private memory, the day they first met. It's a secret he believes exists in only two places on Earth, inside his own head and inside the journal he keeps in his apartment. This isn't just a data breach anymore, this is a violation of memory itself.
So your mind just starts racing, right? How? How could it possibly know this? Is it some kind of super advanced government spyware? Did some quantum computer hack his brainwaves? The suspense is just, it's almost unbearable. And the reveal is so much more chilling because of how boring, how mundane it is. It wasn't a secret agent or some sci-fi tech. It was an old, forgotten webcam he'd tossed in a corner, just sitting there, watching him write in his journal. It's this terrifying commentary on all the old, obsolete gadgets we have lying around our homes, each one just a potential Trojan horse waited.
And this brings us to the final, absolutely terrifying conceptual leap. The story has been about our phones, our computers, our webcams, but in the final act, the horror moves from our external technology directly into our own biology.
He gets this cryptic mass email from an old friend, like a final broadcast from another victim. It just says, "Seen with your own eyes, don't trust them, they." At first, it's just gibberish.
But as the entity starts breaking down his door, the message suddenly makes horrifying, perfect sense. Okay, just think about it like this. What is a camera, really? It's a device that turns light into electrical signals for a computer to process. Now, what is a human eye? It's a device that turns light into electrical signals for your brain to process. Functionally, they're the same thing. And if a camera's feed can be hacked,
Then why not the feed from your own eye? This is the ultimate horror. The enemy isn't outside his door anymore. It's not on a screen. It has hijacked his very senses. It's hardwired directly into his perception of reality. He can no longer trust the evidence of his own eyes.
So why? Why does this story, from the early days of the internet, still feel so incredibly potent today? Well, it's because it stopped being just a story. It's become a perfect allegory for the life we are all living right now.
It just perfectly maps our most pressing modern anxieties. That fear of digital gaslighting, where you literally can't trust what you see online. The seductive appeal of simple explanations for incredibly complex fears. The horror of banal, everyday surveillance from devices we don't even remember we own. And finally, that terrifying blurring line between our technology and our own bodies.
Which leaves us with the story's final, lingering question. And it's not just about who's on the other side of the screen anymore. It's whether the very eyes you are using to watch this can still be trusted.